when you stick 3 opinionated blokes in a room and put World of Warcraft in front of them?
A completely unchained view from each of them that clash in spectacular fashion, much like the best raids of all time. Classic.
There's going to be someone who's always right and someone who's always wrong, like Dunkurk is, as we know the latest raids are much better.
So, with that in mind, it's time to take a look at the latest Warcraft news and speculation. But be careful what you wish for, because
You think you do,
but you don't. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is the Almighty Farseer. You're listening to You Think You Do, But You Don't, with myself.
The whole mic thing, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. That's on my end, people. That's my screw up. I'm the Scotsman, and I screw up. That's what I do. I'm very good at that.
I'm waiting. I knew
I'm
that
very
was
good at that. And we also somehow, some way, we've managed to drag him.
The stars have aligned.
Yeah, we've managed to drag him from the streets of Glasgow, from his metal box that he has resided in for the past
The metal death
3
box.
weeks, I think it is. Who are you again? I've forgotten who you are.
Yeah,
it's been so long since.
What's your name?
I think I'm Leo. No, I'm not Leo.
You're not Leo.
No.
Ross. No, you're not Ross.
He was here during the first episode.
Ross. Yeah, Ross is close. I feel like Ross is close, but that's all I've got. I don't.
Oh, there's a thing below his name. Below his thing
Oh,
is
what?
the name.
What's
Dustin.
No,
It's
no.
Dustin.
Yeah, that's
Hi,
me.
Dustin. How's it going?
No,
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Dustin.
he doesn't sound American.
Oh no, he's right. It's
Neither does
Dunkurk.
Dustin.
It says Dunkirk. We misread it.
Oh, Duncan. So I can't read good.
No,
I don't do
no.
read good.
Ethereal Vision Studio, hey, welcome to the stream. Yes, you're listening to You Think You Do, But You Don't. All 3 of us are here today. And, well, guys, we got a lot to talk about. There's been quite a few things happening in WoW. The cogs are moving. Blizzcon is approaching fast. And we've just got so much to get through.
It's ironic you saying cogs because Blizzard have actually recently just nerfed the fact that you can't get reputation past Exalted with the Rust Bolt resistance through the crafted resistance box you can gain, simply because the amount of farming that the Method Raiders were doing was actually painful.
Was it almost illegal? Like, how
Yeah,
much
it was
farming?
almost illegal level farming. Like
Illegal level farming.
There's one of them. So there's that daily repeatable quest where you basically sort of like set up a you gain a couple of different things and you have to bind them together. It's like 30 springs and 5 armor plating and 2 something like that.
Yeah.
One of the Method Raiders, I think it was Scripe, showed a picture of his bag, and I am not kidding you. He had full-size bags and they were full to the brim of these mats.
Oh, God.
So they have been farming a lot, and the reason why they were farming that much is obviously you get quite a fair bit of Azerite power whenever you gain your 10,000 rep. You gain your rep bag at the end of it after Exalted.
Yes.
So Blizzard essentially stopped them doing that. That was the reason why they were grinding so hard, was because if they had all these boxes to open or all this rep saved up, obviously as soon as the new patch hits, they open all of them, boom, you've got a massive whack of Azerite power.
Boom.
And ironically, the Method Raiders are very, very happy with it. You'd think that they would have, the fact that there's something like that they have the ability to farm.
Now they can stop playing the game that they don't want to play and wait for the game they do want to play with a patch.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think one thing that Scripe said, which has I sort of completely agree with, is that he wants to be rewarded for doing hard content. He doesn't want to be rewarded for doing easy content repeatedly, which is essentially what they were doing with grinding the Azerite power. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this is a lesson that Blizzard have learned. But it's kind of ironic that he's saying that. He's saying, I don't like grinding all this AP power. And yeah, classic WoW seems to be very, very popular still, which features nothing but grinding.
It's like, but we've spoken about this before, and loads of people have spoken about this before. It just sorry, there is grinding in the entirety of MMOs. It's just where they are. But with classic WoW and with current level WoW, for many of the time we've said you can't even compare the two. But it's how it's dressed up. Yes, it's a grind, but it's just how you display the grind. Otherwise, unless you just ignore how the grind is dressed up, you can just say, well, you know, Aeon and Terra are exactly the same as WoW, which you'd never say with any sane mind, you know.
Aeon and Terra are
grind,
exactly the same as
grind has been getting to Dunkirk.
Yeah, so Dunkurk's not actually sane of mind right now, because his mind is like, I don't know how to describe his mind. It's gone. It's just gone.
It's allegedly pleasant. It's allegedly pleasant. Not present.
Allegedly pleasant.
just pleasant. It's not here, but somewhere it's pleasant.
How have you been finding? Obviously, you haven't really had a whole lot of time to put into anything apart from bus.
It's very
how
true.
are you? It's very, very true. So have you caught up with some of the stuff that we've got coming in 8.3? Some of the announcements, some of the data mining that's been happening over at Wowhead at all?
There's a cinematic where Serafang dies.
Is that how far you've got?
Yeah, that's how far behind you are.
Did you
Good
see
Lord.
that? Me and Kex did a video about that. 40k views currently and climbing on the Warcraft Radio YouTube channel. That's Did you see
No,
that?
I watched it on like Taliesin's.
Oh. Dunkurk's like, nah, I went and watched Asmon Gold react.
You watched it on subpar content. That's a joke, Taliesin. I love you. Please don't take that.
That is the
God.
fastest I've ever heard Kex retract something.
Yeah.
So
I've retracted stuff quicker, and generally, the quicker I retract it, the worse it is. So, yeah. So there's obviously been a lot announced. We had a video from Based Hazakostis not too long ago. That obviously, with the 8.3 going up onto the PTR in an encrypted state, people were guessing, are we going to see news before BlizzCon? Is BlizzCon going to be the big reveal, or are we going to get it beforehand and then save BlizzCon for the expansion reveal? Safe to say, we're going to get an expansion reveal at BlizzCon.
Oh, I think
there's no way they don't. If they don't do an expansion, then especially with everything that's been going on, they're going to be in trouble.
They need to make people happy right now. Let's just say that.
There's one world where an expansion isn't needed, right? It's where they step out and be like, okay, we've decided BFA patch 8.4, 8.5, 8.6, 8.6, up to 8.11. And be like, you liked the classic experience so much, we decided to bring it back.
Ooh,
isn't that also the same reality where J. Allen Brack is beaten to death by angry congoers?
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it might be.
In that reality, we had Classic WoW 7 years ago.
Oh.
So we'll pull up. Actually, I will quickly pull up the patch 8.3 notes, so we can catch Dunkirk up on this.
We can, yeah.
It's
Dunkirk,
obviously been a little bit of a
part
while.
of the Twitch viewership today.
Tell a lie. I saw one thing from the patch, or I don't remember where I saw it exactly, but it's in the patch.
Okay.
Let's just say Wowhead. Let's be safe.
It probably was Wowhead, yeah. Most stuff's there. It's the auction house changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like,
that was one part of it. Do you know what those changes are now?
I know that you can no longer single stack items.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So not only can you no longer single stack them, but when you place them on, it essentially almost places them in almost like a tier list, and you can buy. So if you have 20 of them, it will just place them up as a stack of 20, but people can buy single stacks if they want. So if they only need X amount,
it's like Guild Wars where you could place an order for 100 of an item, and if there wasn't 100 on the auction house at the time, it would just sit there until it filled up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no more undercutting, which is quite nice.
The one I saw though
in the chat.
Yeah, what I saw about the undercutting though is that if you post an item at the same price after someone else, your item will be listed first.
Oh, really? Oh, that's odd.
Yeah, so that's how they're going to get around the undercutting, is that like you don't have to undercut anymore. You can list it at the same price, but it'll be listed first, which just means people are going to cancel their auctions and relist them, and cancel their auctions just to move up the list.
Oh, of course they will.
But the buying public aren't going to benefit from an item being like 10 copper cheaper each time they relist it to try and undercut each other, You're just going to have to pay the full price.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit ridiculous. Ethereum
Undercut
Visual
with more
Studios,
steps.
the auction house changes are currently live on the PTR, so they are testable now. The one thing that I'm very, very happy with the auction house is obviously it's nice that there's no longer single stacks of things, but it's the fact you can favorite items. I mean, Dunkurk, I know obviously as a previous raider, Farseer, you never really raided. You go to an auction house and you kind of want to get through all of, you want to get all your stuff.
Flask,
Instead of
food,
typing everything in, you literally go to your favorite list. I'll have 3 of those, bye. And it's going to be so much more easy. That was good English. It's going to be a lot easier for you to go in there, get what you need, and get out quite quickly.
I am most excited about being able to log into our very overpopulated server and actually load the auction house in less than 2 minutes.
It's going to be quite nice, isn't it? I don't want to search an item and then go make a cup of tea and come back, maybe have a sandwich.
And it's still not done.
And then maybe I might be able to buy something. So
and if you run a TSM scan, it takes 4 hours. It's
One thing I liked about the auction house was all these auction house changes is just how out of left field they were. It was like, oh yeah, so you got the new, visions of N'Zoth. You're going to be facing N'Zoth. We're going to Nyalotha. You've got the assaults. You've got these visions of demise. You've got all this sort of stuff. Oh, by the way, auction house changes, and it was like,
it was good though. Welcome though, very welcome.
Very welcome.
It's like the world is ending, everyone. The world is capitalism though over there. Fully market, open, free, on you go.
Oh yeah, of course they got to stay on top of that, especially with the.
It's phenomenal.
Especially with the goblins around.
It's ironic, actually, considering the timing of it.
Yes.
What I like is that like I said, the auction house will load faster, hopefully, or it'll break. 50-50.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah.
What I can see happening here is auction house changes have been something people wanted for ever. Since there was an auction house, people were like, that's not good enough.
Are those changes on the PTR? Are they? I think they are, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
Why is Neil, the tavern bot, in? Neil, why are you in here? Neil, you're at least a day early.
Neil, get out of here.
The tavern is closed on a Friday, Neil. You're here early. Please leave.
Get out of here, Neil.
You're not getting paid overtime for this.
Did you see?
You're not getting paid overtime. This isn't some workers' right BS.
If anyone saw,
just because you're here early, you're not going to get that holiday that you requested.
If anyone saw
the boys need you in the tavern. I will keep shouting over you, Farseer.
No. If anyone was here for the Hearthstone stream yesterday, it feels like Khadgar when you're doing for the new Tavern Brawl. The new Tavern Brawl is awesome, by the way. You should check it out. Very spoopy themed. But Khadgar interferes with you all the time, and he just turns up when you don't want him to, just to fuck with the match and whatever. That's Neil right now, just turning
Khadgar.
up. Khadgar and Neil have something in common where they just turn up, tavern related, and just start spamming their bullshit. And
I like it as well. Now, Rav's got a good point there. We can farm pastry points because Neil's here. We can farm pastry points for tomorrow and ruin it. We can crash the pastry point economy.
Don't tell the Donut Boys. We'll be fine.
Guys, if Kyle or Dustin or anything asks, don't tell them. But we're going to destroy the pastry point economy.
Raventh currently has 79 pastry points.
How many pastry points do I have?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Now we all need to find out
20.
how many pastry
Back
points.
to the topic.
Wait, how have I got 3 and 20?
I've got 138. I'm rocking them pastry points. Look at that. I'm rocking it.
Anyway, speaking of pastry points, I think we've got to give pastry points to Hazakostis for some of the stuff they're bringing into this patch. Thanks for that, Neil.
I do want. Okay, so before we get into like the bigger things, I want to tell Dunkurk something very, very exciting, which he may not know about. Oh, it made Kex so excited when Ian brought it up. I don't know if you saw this, Dunkurk, but did you see that Rathian is going to be offering us legendary cloaks?
Yeah, legendary cloaks, Dunkurk. Do you remember legendary cloaks? Dunkurk? That was everyone's favourite.
Dunkirk?
Oh, Dunkurk's leaving.
No, he's throwing up.
Dunkurk's heading out.
Yeah. Yes. Legendary cloaks.
No, we are.
I'm not farming Emperor Shalhal rep. I'm not collecting stuff from Essence. I'm not collecting essences of fear and heart. I'm not doing it again.
Obviously, so the cloak.
No.
So to kind of play on that, the cloak is part of one of the new features, which is Visions of Demise. What we can do is it's essentially almost like a... Is that a bee? What was that?
So every Halloween, there is this really large bee that nests in my flat. It won't go away, and it threatens to kill me. And it does sometimes get really angry. And so, you just hear them things. You still make jump
because he walked in from a day out, and the bee's there like, bitch, better have my honey. Like,
yes. Do you know him? Because that's what he says.
I sent him. So as Rav says, they're Visions of Madness, not Demise. They're Visions of Madness, not Demise. They are kind of a cross between, if you can imagine Dunkirk, a cross between challenge modes in Mists of Pandaria mixed with the Mage Tower in Legion, kind of. You go into them, you can go in, it scales apparently seamlessly, as Hazakostis said, scales seamlessly from 1 player to 5 player. First time you go in there, you're probably not going to do very well.
The thing I see it as...
Sorry. Did they test this as a Blood Death Knight? They probably
I don't believe they did. I don't think they have a Blood Death Knight tester. So it could be a position you could apply for potentially.
It could be, yeah. But the way I see this, as I didn't click on this when we were watching it, when we were doing the video on it, but it's pretty much the Death of Chromie, but built upon. And that was kind of cool. I didn't mind that. So I think this is a cool idea. I think if this kind of takes off in this patch and it does really well, I think if they want to do similar things in the future, that wouldn't be too bad. I would prefer that to something like, say, Islands.
Nothing wrong with Islands.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing wrong with Islands whatsoever. So you essentially build up. The cloak is part of that. So what the cloak will do is, as you go into these Visions of Madness, you'll be taking on N'Zoth's minions in either Orgrimmar or Stormwind. You'll be collecting, I can't remember what they're like, shards of N'Zoth's insanity almost.
Insanity, darkness, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. You'll be using these towards your cloak to level up your cloak, and you will also get a separate talent tree that looks very similar to the old school trees that you can then build up. And obviously, as you do more and more of these, you get more and more stuff. You can then do better at them to get you more stuff, and it works that way. They've said it does seamlessly scale from 1 to 5, so we can kind of play it as and how you want, and the rewards remain the same regardless.
This is almost when rolling back a discussion a few episodes. It was either episodes or I kind of mix our shows and our actual discussion we've had over the years all together. I can't remember what got discussed where. But
do you not understand time or something?
No, I don't understand it at all. But I remember saying DC Universe Online, where they had them 2-player dungeons.
Good God!
Yeah, no.
DC Universe Online.
I know, yeah, DC
really
Universe
doesn't
Online.
understand time.
No. But no. The whole concept they had 2-player dungeons. So they had the 5-mans, they had 2-mans, like duos, I believe they were called, and others. And I loved the fact that there was just like a duo thing where you could just take a friend and you could just go bash through like mini dungeons, what have you. This is sort of like a flexible version of that. So you can have yourself, you can have 2, 3, up to 5. I like that idea of like flexi dungeons or flexi instances is a really good idea, and I hope that they can build on this. This is a really cool direction.
It's flexi scenarios.
Yeah, I like
Remember when they introduced scenarios and everyone was really excited to do small group content with friends? Yeah, that scenarios kind of tailed out a little bit, didn't they?
It did, but they weren't. I didn't necessarily think they were bad. I didn't think they were inherently bad.
I didn't think they were bad at all. I quite enjoyed the scenarios. The problem is now, name one of the scenarios.
The one that always comes to mind is the one just on the river when you're going into, was it Tao Long Steps? I don't have to remember the names of the zones. There's a village where it's being attacked by the moose people, the bulls. I can't remember what they're called now either.
The moose people, the bulls.
Yep. I can't remember what they're called. They're yaks, bulls, moose.
The Yongle.
That's the one.
Yes, those yak moose bulls.
Yes. They were dangerous.
Everyone's favourite allied race.
I mean, I'm disappointed I haven't got a yak moose.
Allied race when?
Allied race when? The Visions of Madness, I'm looking forward to them.
Hold on.
Hold
on.
What?
You've Farseer's scenario that I think he is completely imagined.
No.
No, I think that Brewing Storm. I think it's no, it's not Brewing Storm. It's Brew Moon Festival. I
Yes.
remember it because I remember Brew Moon Festival. That's the one that takes place, and it isn't Taolong Steps. It's as you go into the mountain.
Valley Four Winds.
No, it's not.
Kunlai.
Oh,
Kunlai. It's as you go into Kunlai.
Yes, that's it, Kunlai.
Well, yeah.
High Mountain Tauren just got a name. Yes, Ethereal. You call your Tauren Yak Moose Bull. Admittedly, on Classic, WoW, I think it's either Classic or... No, it's not Classic, it's on Retail. I do still have my level 1 Tauren called Beef Swollenoff. I should probably get back into him. So yeah, I'm excited about these Visions of Madness. I'm looking forward to having something that, if it works properly and having the seamless content be 1 to 5, I'm looking forward to that. I think the progression system with the cape, whilst it has been done before, gives us at least something to work towards and gives us a reason to do these rather than just the empty AP rewards you get from islands, which I still enjoy.
It'll be interesting to see if they can get it to scale properly, because this isn't the first time they've said it will scale seamlessly, and then it turns out just take 16 people and you have the optimum number. Just take 12 and this mechanic doesn't happen because, you know, that's how scaling works. But I'm sure someone will put up a guide on day one and be like, dude.
Continue.
I can't Dr. Evil. It just...
That's kind of horrifying.
Yes.
Well,
that's actually really terrifying.
I've lost my bus of thought.
My bus of thought. So yeah, as we're saying, you know, or as Dunkurk was saying, I think the deal breaker here is going to be their ability to properly balance this between the two and make it seamless between 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. If they can do that well, and they can make it properly seamless, so we do have, you know, 1 to 5 players, seamless difficulty, which is going to be difficult, but I believe they can do it, and a seamless, you know, reward scale, then I think... Neil? Rav, can you escort Neil out, please? I think he's drunk. Can you please get Neil to leave the chat?
Continue before we start derailing anymore.
So yeah, I think we're going to get to a point now where I think they've done this quite a few times. Obviously, the Chromie sort of challenge, whilst it didn't scale with any extra players, it did kind of give a little bit, you know, it was kind of quite nice in the fact that you had something you could carry on working towards. The better you got, the better it was. You know, the further you could get into it.
Almost like a roguelike scenario. Like, you will die, but the next time you'll go in and obviously you get to put in some, not talents, but, you know, some more options to make yourself stronger, do this and the other. So it's sort of like a roguelike scenario, and I like that. Like, that's a pretty cool thing to play off. I like it. So they've now covered roguelikes, like Pokemon, Bejeweled. They're knocking them all out.
Fortnite Battle Royale.
Oh God, no. Oh, please.
That reminds me of a conversation that me and my friend had yesterday when we were at work and we were talking about the whole situation that's currently going on with Blizzard and the fact that BlizzCon is just around the corner.
Yes.
And we kind of decided it would be funny if they, instead of trying to dodge any questions about it, they leaned into it heavily and just were like, they're going to hate us anyway, so let's just make the worst possible thing that we can. So just have like someone come out and be like, just not caring, completely emotionless, and just being like,
I've got it.
WoW Classic's cancelled. Next expansion.
No. They can
World
do
of
better.
Warcraft, Fortnite.
They can do so much better. I mean, so much worse, but so much better.
Okay.
Right. So, cue this. Screen goes black. You know, all the lights go off.
Yep.
Screen pops up. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Do right.
Okay.
Then Diablo Immortal trailer from last year plays again. The same one. Unedited.
Same one, no changes.
No changes.
Exactly.
Hashtag
no
no
changes
changes
appears on the screen. so that way they've attached the no
The
changes.
screen
hashtag
looks
for
like an
Diablo Immortal.
Asmongold thumbnail, so it's like hashtag no changes and him like in the corner of the thumbnail.
The guy who said, "Don't you have?" I can't remember his name. I really can't remember his name. But the guy who said, "Don't you have phones?" Comes out dressed as a Nokia 2800.
Okay, I can't help but feel as though you've put a lot of thought into this.
This is all on the fly, honestly. Right? So he's out on stage dressed as Nokia 2800 with a working screen. On that screen, World
Diablo
of Warcraft Mobile.
Oh God, no!
You can play as one of 4 classes that have 3 buttons. So you've got Hunter, you've got Rogue, you've got Warrior, and you've got Mage.
The
So the
Blizzard
Hunter's unchanged from retail then.
Yeah, well, they're all unchanged from retail. That's a joke.
WoW Classic Mobile. Like, you know what? The Blizzard HR team are now literally calling Dunkurk.
Only
Like, we
available
gotta hire
on
this guy.
Nokia. Only
Yeah, we need to
available
get
on
this guy.
Nokia 2800s.
Only Nokia 2800.
Don't you guys have this phone?
This exact specific phone.
And when they move on from that model where you can't play it anymore, clearly. So,
Yeah, well,
Obviously.
that's it. The market's dead at that point. There's no point. and then you know they go ahead and they announce an expansion for WoW, and the expansion is like, you know, it's we heard you really liked Warlords of Draenor, so we're doing Warlords of Draenor again, but this time
In
there's less
reverse.
characters.
Oh.
No, this time there's no war chiefs, there's no orcs, there's no Draenor.
No, we'd like to give you our latest expansion with, in conjunction with one of our favourite studios, and he just sort of like points towards the screen and World
EA.
of Minecraft.
No, just
And-
EA. It's in the game.
EA Sports. Oh God! Good God, no!
the next game from Blizzard, World of Warcraft Football. World of Warcraft Soccer.
NFL.
You know what? I don't want to like jump like hate on that too much because they made Mario Soccer and that is a really fun game. But maybe that's because Nintendo had the influence on that one.
It's like the APL Azeroth Premier League 19. Oh no.
It's like a version of Blood Bowl. Actually, that would be really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm sold on this idea now. Blood Bowl, but
Yeah,
with
there we go.
Warcraft universe.
If this doesn't happen at BlizzCon's wasted. It'll be a wasted trip.
Yeah, that's it.
I said Blizzard would like the HR team was just trying to call Dunkurk. They're now rapidly really trying to get his number.
They're really trying to get
Like
the
you
number.
just picturing these ideas like we've got to call this guy. What's the area code for the UK?
We need to do.
What's
It's
it?
like he must have a phone.
Four.
You must have a phone. Good God. Speaking of having phones, I think it's time to call one of the worst things that they've included in patch 8.3 that
The legendary
is
clone.
setting.
Oh, wait.
No, it's setting a very, very dangerous precedent for World of Warcraft, and it is something that they are starting to sort of kowtow to this group of people, and I believe that there needs to be something there to stop them, because if we are starting to get into a position where, this agenda is just going to take over the entire series of Blizzard games. I'm of course talking about Vulpera.
Gnomes. Oh,
Vulpera. You get that thing off the goddamn screen right now.
Did you realize? Do you see what it's wearing? I got this from Blizzard itself actually. So this is actually
Your t-shirt.
yeah, it is. This was given to me when I was at Blizzard. So
that
it's too late, Kex man.
Apparently, you putting it towards the camera melts it slightly.
No, I'm not going
That's
to.
kind of terrific. Yeah. So obviously, the new allied races. We've got Vulpera for the Horde in legitimately the worst kept secret of all time. This does, however, mean alpaca mounts
Yes.
are a go. I repeat, alpaca mounts are a go.
You can have your own Dolly and Dot.
Not only
But
can you
at
have your
what
own Dolly and
cost?
Dot, but what I don't care about the cost.
You know what?
They could replace Taurens with Vulpera, and I would. No, I take that back. No,
Oh no, that's on the
I
record.
don't
That
need an
is on
alpaca
the
that
record.
badly.
Clip it.
I do not need an alpaca
it.
that badly.
It's on the record. They can replace Tauren with Vulpera.
No,
There you
I apologize. They do not need. We don't need alpacas that badly. As much as I want an alpaca, I will say their mount special is one of the cutest and best things I have ever seen.
Do they spit?
They just bounce around, and it is amazing.
I'm not gonna lie. I do want to see Kexman's Tauren, like the big burly Tauren on an alpaca.
You're going to see. I can guarantee you shall see that.
What
That
if
will
it's-
happen.
Fantastic.
What if it's race restricted to Vulpera?
As
That'd
Rav
be-
says, hippity hoppity, your heart is now my property.
Pretty much. That's the
It's
alpacas.
how I deal with alpacas. And on the other side of things, again, in a secret that is pretty obvious, we now have mechanomes on the Alliance side, where you can decide your various different bodily parts and how they look.
I do have a little bit of a thing. The only exception to this rule comes with I think
Okay.
Zandalari trolls. the Alliance seem to be getting these races which are the same races but just tweaked ever so slightly. So you got dwarves, Dark Iron dwarves, Draenei, Lightforged, what was it? Gnomes, Mechagnomes. So they
Magcar Orcs.
Magcar Orcs. Yeah, okay, so you got the Magcar Orcs. That's okay, so
Zandalari
Trolls and Magcar Orcs, so there's only two.
High Mountain
Elves.
High Mountain Tauren.
High Mountain Tauren. They're different enough.
So
I retract my statement.
I can't help but feel as though your statement is false.
You know what? My thought process was I kind of went through about 2 or 3 of the races. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. And then I just didn't think any further on it.
What?
And then...
What? Hold on. What
Farseer is the leader of the Alliance is sat there going, this is the worst trade deal in trade deals.
Which 2 or 3 races do you think that your logic applies to? Because High Mountain Tauren, nope. The Suramar Elves, nope.
Nope.
Wait, no. The Suramar Elves?
Magcar Orcs, nope. No,
In the Horde? What was
the Suramar Elves are just night elves.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's the night elf.
No,
it's
no.
the night elf skeleton.
I was I was comparing for like races that were already on that faction to like getting a new race.
Right.
So like when you have a Draenei and Lightforged Draenei, there's not really too much of a difference if you know what I mean. So if it's race difference,
one has got fleeked shoes.
Yeah, that's true.
What?
That's true. And yellow eyes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking to Dunkurk here, who's an Alliance player. I'm Horde. I don't know these differences. I haven't gone in and inspected these things.
But I'm curious, what race do you think is drastic? Because the allied races aren't supposed to be drastic. Like, it's not like allied race Naga, because that wouldn't like that's a new race. That would be an allied race.
Volpera, they're fairy foxes.
No, it's just what they've used the allied races to do is give the factions access to models they didn't previously have. For the most part. So like the Zandalar trolls use the.
Use your words.
Were they a unique one? They were a unique skeleton, weren't they?
I think they were. Yeah.
What's the other? Oh, the Void Elves. The Void Elves have the Blood Elf skeleton, and then the Suramar ones have the Night Elf one, and High Mountain had the High Mountain one. Neil!
Neil!
I'm not telling you again, Neil.
Obviously the allied races are here. There's some potential exciting news with some allied races that we will touch upon later, which I have no idea how it's going to go, but it will be.
No, this is a fact. It will happen.
Where they go with it. It will be interesting to see where they go with it.
That's confirmed. Scotsman reacts to a new allied race leak.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So how are we feeling about the allied races? I mean, we know how you're feeling, Farseer, but
happy.
So obviously with the Volpera there, are we sort of happy with that we're getting Mechagnomes and Volpera? Does it feel right in the storyline? Does it feel as though it's it makes sense?
I can't help but feel like the Alliance get more than a little bit shafted with the requirement to unlock the Mechagnomes compared to the Volpera.
Yeah.
Because you hit the rep with the Volpera pretty much just leveling for the most part, or almost there. Mechagnomes, you had to do Mechagon forever and ever and ever to get exalted.
Well, I don't think it's forever and ever. I think we're now at a point in the expansion where people and Mechagon has been out long enough where I think most people are pretty much exalted with that one.
But
if this was
the question.
The start of the expansion, or the start, like they'd introduced Mechagnomes and Volpera's allied race in 8.2, I could kind of understand why people would be angry.
But here's
now at a point where I don't think it's making that much of a difference.
Here's the question then: what happens when we're halfway through the next expansion and someone who didn't play BFA, because there's quite a lot of people who haven't touched most of BFA, comes back to the game, as they would often do, and is like, oh, Mechagnomes, sweet, I need to do what?
Oh yeah,
because just like the Legion ones that are still tied to a rep for no reason.
That is true, but I think at that point, both the Volpera and Mechagon are kind of going to be at a similar sort of point. I feel as though the Mechagon, because the Mechagon sort of like storyline, you had to go through some of the war campaign stuff.
Yeah.
But they pretty much removed all of the requirements for.
But you still need the rep to get the allied race unlocked, though, right?
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, once it's moved on, it makes sense for the race you get. If you're going, oh, I love them races, like, what expansion are they from? It's like, oh, Volpera, they're from BFA. You got to go and grind rep with them in the BFA content. It makes sense.
Yeah, I find it
point to that.
A lot of people are saying that the allied races, they want them to be more difficult. They want them to almost be a badge of, not a badge of honor, but like a badge of I've earned this. And now they're playing something slightly behind reputation, which yes, might not be the best way of doing it. But they're placing something behind that is more difficult, and all of a sudden people are now complaining again. Like, where's the middle ground here? How do we deal with this?
Well, I have a potential idea there. If you remember mop challenge modes, right, where you got your Phoenix mount for doing real well, right? And your challenge mode set. So what if we had challenge mode dungeons again, but the reward is races?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
A race for both factions.
I could get behind that.
Blizzard is still dialing that number.
I feel as though they would. Yes, I would like to see, if we're going to do that, maybe tie them behind two different things rather than just have them be rep based. Have two different things. So, I mean, one thing that Squee points out in the chat, it's easier to farm Rust Bolt than other reps, which is true because obviously spare parts farming, you can get all that sort of stuff. So it is easy. It's not quite as time gated. The Volpera one, whilst it is more accessible in regards to being able to do the quest when you join in there, those quests will not get you up to Exalted. You will have to do sort of daily events that are going on in there. The Mechon quests as a general rule will give you enough rep alongside farming if you want to do it for you to be able to catch up quite quickly. Again, and as Rav says, rep is not difficult, it's tedious. Again, true. I think maybe a mix-up of the two ideas, the idea that you have, Dunkurk, as well as the idea behind a rep gate. So if the next expansion comes out and we have, they have two allied races, one of them is tied to one of the first sort of like reps, or one of the first groups you gain access to on one side. Same with the other side. You have to get exalted with those reps, and then you have to complete, say, a mythic dungeon, or you have to complete X raid or something like that. Something that even if you do it at, say you have to kill the final boss of the first raid with, but you can do it in any difficulty, I think, or normal and above. At least give it something else that you have to do outside of rep.
I would agree with that only if they changed how these allied races work when you first get them. I don't know about you guys, but I am a little fed up of when you finally unlock these allied races, even though it's not too much of a jump. There is a bit of a rep grind behind it. But when you finally unlock them, you have to go from level, 10, 20, or whatever, and you have to re-level all again. Because in order to get these allied races, especially like mechanomes and such, you definitely have had to have played the game. You definitely have had to put in time for the dailies, the grinds, the reps. So obviously you're at that end of the game. You're at the very top. You've played it. You've experienced it.
And then all the way back to the end.
And then once you've unlocked this race that you've really tried hard to get, and you're like, yes, finally. Oh, now I'm going to go and level through Azeroth again. I would like it if they made these allied races so you unlock them, and then you unlocked at the appropriate level for that expansion. So they unlocked Volpera and Mechanome start at 110. I think that would be much better, because what put me off Zandalari Trolls completely, I thought, you know what, I'll make a Zandalari Troll, just see how the intro is or whatever. I made one. Queen Talanji, she says, yep, you're going to go represent us in the Horde. Awesome. Go off. And that was literally like 3 minutes. I was like, okay. Orgrimmar, level 20. Oh.
I see where you're coming from.
Why not just start them at 110?
Yeah, it's like at 110 where, hey, we're in trouble. It would be good if you, as our Zandalari Troll person rising in the ranks, would help with this problem rather than
have like an intro scenario.
Go off to Orgrimmar 10 years ago.
I think there's, I would agree with that. I feel as though it does seem a little bit disingenuous to then make you have to go back all the way through the content. Even though it is fast leveling,
with allied,
you're still having to go back and do it.
With the allied races, right, you can only access them at max level, or 110 for the Legion ones.
Close to max level.
Yeah. So at that point, you've played the game. You know what you want, and a lot of people who roll an allied race end up rolling the same class that they already played because they just wanted it as that race.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So you can't really make the argument about oh well, they won't know how to play their class because you can also just buy a boost. So
Yeah, exactly.
learning how to play your class is out of the equation now. So there's no reason to
They're
get stuck.
only concerned about that until you pay them for it, and then that concern's out the window. Oh, they can do what they want. So yeah.
Yeah, but if you dare boost an allied race, you ain't getting that pretty heritage armor. That's 90% of the reason you rolled the race.
The way I see allied races, and especially the heritage armor, is I almost see it in a similar sort of vein to, and I hate using this as an example, but anytime you play something along the lines of Battlefield or Call of Duty, they have prestige systems. So obviously you get to the top level and then you can go back to the start, but you gain that little, that little badge of honor for doing so.
We have that. The honor system is a prestige system.
Okay. So the honor system, that's fine. I mean, I see this as like almost like a very, very. I know we already have that for PvP. Yes, this is almost like it's like, okay,
my point's more like
leveled all the way up with that character from that they gained access to it and leveled it up, and they were able to gain this armor. It's more of a visible. You can tell that someone has put time and effort into that rather than just they've unlocked it. Okay, which
my point.
I don't think that's quite as much effort.
My point there is you're like, oh, what's a similar comparison that's related to what I know, Call of Duty, instead of the end game example of the very system.
Yeah, I kind of failed on that one. So that's my bad. I apologise. Oops.
Like, prestige. Okay, you've lost all of your guns, but I'm a warrior.
Pretty much.
Speaking of going back in time for prestige systems,
new Back to the Future film.
How fond of how fond of Mr. Pandaria were you?
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Well, I hope you look forward to invasions in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms in Mr. Pandaria for N'Zoth and some of the content that you're going to have to do in 8.3.
Yep.
Obviously, Vale of Eternal Blossoms, they have changed it so it is no longer blighted by Shar.
But it's now going to be blighted by N'Zoth and his minions.
Which is quite a nice thing. It also means we're going to want them as well. They're attacking specific Titan facilities.
Yes.
And we get to go back. So the Vale of Eternal Blossoms is going to be pristine outside of these invasions, but every so often, N'Zoth is going to invade it and you're going to have to go and rescue it again. Which is just another little thing. Hazakostas has said that they're going to be taking ideas that they took from the Legion invasions, which were very good. Everyone enjoyed the Legion invasions. Some of the stuff they've done in BFA and kind of tie them all together, which I'm quite happy with.
So far, we know that it's Mogushan, Volts, and Oldham. Suspected, because he says that they're attacking Titan facilities, that they probably will attack Ulduar. Yeah, so they'll attack Ulduar, and they will attack. This is not confirmed. This is not fact. We don't state things as fact here, but we're assuming that Alderman might be a possible target. Ulduar, and you. As far as Titan facilities go,
the difference is
it's already at Oldham. Yeah.
They're attacking Titan facilities. However, it's important to remember that Ulduar itself, whilst it was a Titan facility, it was a prison. Whereas the Vale of Eternal Blossoms and Uldum were kind of more focused around, obviously, the ray of origination and stuff.
No, wasn't the Vale of Eternal Blossoms also a prison? Because that's where Yusarge's remains were kept.
So yes, it technically was. The remains were kept there, but it wasn't specifically designed for
then, isn't Li Shen's palace is a Titan facility inside of it?
Yes, it does.
Oh,
no,
so
it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't. Li Shen's palace doesn't have a Titan facility inside of it.
It has loads of Titan stuff in it.
But it's not a Titan facility. It's not a Titan facility.
So it's where Raden was, and if he's in the patch, then
that's why Li Shen took him.
Look, all I'm saying is I want Throne of Thunder 2.0. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you're going to get Throne of Thunder 2.0 because in the new Nyalotha raid, we face off. Spoilers, by the way, for anyone that might want to know.
3,
we
2, 1.
Li Shen, right?
Raden.
Oh.
We fight off a corrupted Raden.
Kex called it as Tyr and was convinced utterly that it was Tyr.
Tyr simply because he was missing, he only had one hand, the other one had been morphed into a tentacle. It was a keeper model, straight away, the fact that you've got a missing arm, a keeper model, something that, you know, out of left field, I was like, Tyr, that's got
I
to
watched
be
the footage back.
Surely.
One thing
Surely
he ignored. One thing he did ignore, though, the arm thing he noticed, but one thing he did ignore was the bolts of lightning sparking around him. That was a big key
lightning,
point.
The braces that he was wearing, the same as Raden, the same mustache, the same. You know, to be honest, I think I was a little bit. I did see it and was like, oh, gotta be Tyr. I was very distracted with how good the sort of like the skybox and stuff that Nyloth had. You know, those tentacle. It looks kind of like the images that we've seen in the Chronicle books, in the Warbringers shorts.
It is. That big picture is Nyloth. So that's
here's
where we're
the
going.
thing, right? So we've seen like maybe 4 or 5 of the screenshots are in Nyloth, right?
Yeah.
So not too much. So we can't see a lot. So how much of a playable area are we talking here? Because it's all very well and good to have that looks amazing way over there where you can't go, because we had that in Argus, but the actual playable area felt really confined.
Yeah, so Nyloth itself is going to be a raid. It's not going to be a zone.
Yeah.
Well, we don't necessarily know that either, that there won't be some zone stuff related to it either, do we?
Well, there's more coming, so we're not quite sure what the entirety of 8.3.
What we were only going is by what we've been told. So there's a lot of stuff. They haven't announced there's going to be a Nyloth zone, so at this point we're not going to get one. I think it's too late. If we were going to Nyloth, it would have been one of the big talking points of the 8.3 review.
Yeah, I'd agree on that. Yeah.
What we are going to find though is N'Zoth is going to have a fight similar to Deathwing in Dragon Soul. So there's going to be 2 sort of like fights that take place with him. There's going to be a husk or a carapace of N'Zoth that we face, and then I'm not looking, but I can feel Dunkurk's rage on that one. And then there's going to be an actual fight against N'Zoth's body himself. It's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what they want to do with it. One thing I'd like to point out, I don't know if any of you have noticed some of the stuff that Marlamin, who does a lot of the data mining for maps and stuff, put up on Twitter. There we go. He's so confused. He's running all over the place. One of the things that Marlamin that put up on Twitter, I'm going to find it quickly and I'll put it in the chat because it is very, very interesting. And when I saw it. Pardon?
What is this involving? I'm curious now.
Essentially, he was doing a lot of data mining. Marlamin is very, very famous for his data mining, which is interesting. He discovered that there was actually a portion of early on in 8.2's development, there was a portion of the what's the word I'm looking? Nazjatar. The Nazjatar area was actually much larger. I'm putting in the Twitch chat now. Okay. The tweet that he put out with the picture, so you can see the Nazjatar area at the bottom. This was early on in 8.2 that wasn't included. You can see at the bottom here Ashara's sort of like domain in Nazjatar. Directly north of that is essentially what they had in mind for N'Zoth, and this was going to be a zone that you could go into. Now that screenshot doesn't necessarily do it justice. However, Marlamin was very, very kind to kind of go into the zone, and he decided that he was going to put. So I'll put one of the screenshots in here to give you an idea of just how big the zone was. This is a portion of the zone there, and that is grown to scale in the zone. So it was a very, very big zone.
Apologies to listeners. Hopefully this will be included in the show notes. Yeah, so you can check in the show notes.
Don't worry. So yeah, this was at the point of development, in 8.2. This was included in Nazjatar as kind of like a big whole reveal. Now, obviously, there is potential that it could be something that we haven't been told. So we don't know that when sort of like 8.3 comes along and N'Zoth fully awakens, we might find that something like that happens at Nazjatar, which would be very, very interesting. Gives us a little bit more to do, gives a little bit, adds something more to Nazjatar.
Maybe.
I'd be surprised if they did.
Okay.
But again, it was nice to see Marlamin data mining stuff like that. Stuff that, that if it would have been included, would have been pretty insane.
Would have. We'll see.
Apparently, it was slightly too large for them to fully realise, though, with textures and everything like that.
Speaking of large and of sizes, though, there is one really cool thing that I saw. No, not you. There's one really cool thing that I saw earlier, provided by Wowhead, which I'm going to bring up on the stream now. This is the size comparisons and shows of the old gods next to one another. And it's kind of
Zoth's a big boy.
And Zoth is a big boy. They're all terrifying in their own way. Old Cthulhu, Yogg-Saron, and Zoth there.
I would raise the point that Cthulhu is probably bigger than Zoth when he's actually got his eyeball on top of him.
Maybe so.
Potentially. I think the difference, though, is that a lot of Cthulhu a lot of that is kind of like below ground. Same with Yogg-Saron. We don't know what position we're fighting in Zoth in, so that could be only a portion of it. There could be a whole lot more of him. We also don't know if we're going to be attacking Unzoth directly. So this could, instead of being it where we attack Cthulhu...
Hold on. Let's look at this logically, right? You see that red line down the middle of his face? That's an eye.
Yes.
That, to me, speaks of attack the weak point for massive damage.
No, because in the actual model that you look at, that thing is open the entire time.
Right? Doesn't mean you don't attack it.
Yeah, you still might attack it. That's entirely possible. Yeah. It's one thing I am just, and this again, spoilers. There are big spoilers here from the PTR, and this is the one thing that I am not happy about.
Yeah.
We have had confirmation we do defeat Unzoth. So that has been
the biggest spoiler. I would never would have guessed.
Battle for Azeroth's over.
There were a lot of people that were expecting Unzoth to win.
Oh, that's
or for
true.
there to be
That
at least
actually
some sort of endgame where
that
Unzoth
just
wins.
Throws your theory of us getting locked in the Chamber of Azeroth out. That's gone.
Yes, it does, which I'm very, very disappointed about. Very, very, because I think that would have been fantastic and would have led to a really good revamp of the old world. But here we are. Still might potentially happen. We don't know. We know that Unzoth is defeated. We don't know how. I'm sure we'll find that out in the future.
We've never passed over expansions with a defeat, have we? We've never done that. We've never come to the end of one we've defeated. It would have been different. It would have been different to go to expansion and have it switch it up.
That's why I wanted it to happen. Have us be defeated by the bad guy, have us lose. Recently it was done to great success in the Avengers films. At the end of Infinity War, they lost.
Yeah, true.
Straight up. And it made Endgame a much better film. So I don't see why that doesn't happen. It's possible. It is possible that a lot of the stuff that we're data mining could potentially be there to throw us off, what is coming. We don't know. It could, we could be talking about this going, oh yeah, this is really cool. We've got, the panda DKs and all that sort of stuff, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And then all of a sudden at BlizzCon, boom, this big reveal. That was all a fake out. And here we are. Here we are with Unzoth actually winning. We don't know. I think that would be quite interesting to see. Especially with the rumors of Shadowlands, with some of the stuff that Sylvanas could potentially be doing, stuff with Tyrande. She's kind of going a little bit off the deep end.
Tyrande,
having a couple of years gap could then help build up on some of these stories and give us something to really sink our teeth into come the new expansion.
That's true. It's very, very true. So what we've got is we got a little bit of follow up on Tyrande from the notes as well. She ain't happy. As you did bring up.
Ain't happy.
She ain't happy.
Is she ever?
This is very true.
Wow, that's true.
This is coming this is pretty much foreshadowing for the next expansion because they haven't got enough time to put anything else in this unless they're going to add another year of BFA on, which I don't think anyone would be happy about.
8.4.
Oh,
8.4 is coming.
But no, that's not.
Remember Sunwell? We remember Sunwell. 2.4.
I remember.
But yeah, so everybody's looking after this whole thing with Unzoth, which is really weird as they're kind of just playing off a side thing. Oh yeah, it's a patch. Unzoth dead now. Continue to search for Sylvanas. Okay. So this whole thing with Sylvanas, everybody's looking for her. Tyrande and her Sentinels are looking for her. Agent Shaw from Stormwind is looking for her. There's loads of people looking for Sylvanas and trying to find her because they want her dead. Tyrande especially, and Gen. Yes, Dunkurk.
We're not any. Oh.
I'm not looking for her.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
Okay.
Yeah,
true.
I don't care. She's gone. I don't care. Why?
She's
like she phased out. Okay, cool. She doesn't have an army anymore, or spies, or followers. She has nothing.
Bye.
So, yeah.
I think that
even Tink Banner woman tinked.
Yeah, she tinks in chat, please. Tinks in chat. I think the one thing we need to take from this is that there is obvious unrest. Whilst we are kind of all pointing towards a lot of people turning around and saying, yeah, we want the factions to kind of come together slightly. We want, the restrictions on those being lifted. It's also key to point out that there are still a lot of tensions going on, mostly from the Alliance side because of what the Horde have done. Mostly from Tyrande. Gen is obviously Gen's in a very, very interesting point right now because he realizes the need for peace. He realizes the need for them to stop these, these fights, but also at the same time, he's got a massive revenge boner.
I was about to say, you say he's in an interesting point. He seems to have been in this point ever since he was introduced in Cataclysm, where he just wants to kill Sylvanas. It seems to be the point he's just been stuck in forever.
Yeah, that's the point. Now we're in a position where Sylvanas has split from the Horde, where Gen now needs to turn around and say, okay, the Horde aren't the problem anymore. He needs to kind of push all that aside. But he's still, he's red rocketing for Sylvanas so hard right now.
Oh God!
He needs to make a decision, and I think Tyrande could potentially push him one way or the other.
I think he's going to get overzealous and take on Sylvanas one-on-one again, but with her new powers, she is going to destroy him if he does that. I can easily see it happening, though.
I feel as though we've lost Saurfang, and there's quite a few characters obviously along the way that we've lost. We were saying goodbye, or we've said goodbye to a degree to old Mecha Talk. He's currently frozen in a block of ice.
Yeah, we ain't said goodbye to him. Magni was frozen in a block of crystals, but he's back.
But you know what I mean? He's not involved anymore.
Champions!
We've got the War Council obviously going on,
yes.
Where we've got Rokan, we've got Bane, we've got Thrall kind of all doing their thing. We've got a new trade prince because Gallywix has left with Sylvanas.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that part.
Gallywix has left with Sylvanas. Gazlo has stepped in.
But he can't turn into... Gallywix can't turn into a cloud of smoke. How did he...
He farts really hard.
Yeah. Oh. He farts really hard and just...
Gallywix has got to be the least subtle individual on Azeroth. How are we having trouble finding Sylvanas now?
That's very true.
Have we checked the golf course in Azshara?
Yeah. Have we checked the Pleasure Palace?
Yeah, that's where they are. They're at his Pleasure Palace, literally just down the road.
No one goes to the Pleasure Palace. It'll be fine.
And speaking of goblins and speaking of Worgen, we now know what their heritage armor looks like.
We do indeed.
Have you seen the goblin heritage armor, Dunkurk?
Nope,
he hasn't.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me grab those for you. It's interesting.
I'm going to give you some time to grab them because I think we're going to take a quick break. So if you want to grab them and we can show them to Dunkurk, we're going to have just a quick break. It's not going to be too long. It's just going to be a little thing just so everyone can just grab a drink, do whatever you need to do, and then we'll be right back with you guys. But stay tuned for some more because we're going to be talking about the War Council. We're going to be talking about the Goblin and Worgen models. We're going to be delving more into 8.3 here on You Think You Do But You Don't. And we'll see you in just a few moments.
we go again.
Welcome back, guys. Well, I shouldn't say welcome back. We're back is what I should really be saying.
Yeah, we're back. You went nowhere. We're back.
We're back.
You
We're
went
back.
nowhere.
You went back. I know it's force of habit. I've got to retrain myself to stop saying that. We went off. We went off on an adventure. We went on holiday actually. Yeah, we went had some drinks. Had a good talk with Chris Metz and Neil.
I pinned Neil down and chucked him out. So
you chucked Neil out.
We getting any more Neil?
Okay, awesome. So you no more Neil. Okay.
No more Neil.
Okay.
No more Neil.
No more Neil. Who needs a Neil?
So we're coming back. We've spoken about a lot of the 8.3 stuff. Now this is where things get slightly more interesting, because with the reveal of the Worgen and Goblin heritage armor, it is now time to see just how a very, very devout and how a big fan of the goblins. And Dunkurk has played a fair bit as a goblin. I believe his Death Knight has been a goblin forever, which is quite interesting considering goblins came out after Death Knights were brought in. But he's always had a goblin Death Knight.
Yep,
it's true. It does seem that way. It really does.
Yep, it's patch 2.0.
It's interesting to see how he's going to react to the Goblin heritage armor, because this has split people quite heavily as to whether they like it or not.
Okay.
So have you seen? Did you take a chance over the break to see those, Dunkurk, or?
No, you said you were grabbing them.
Okay. I have got
them
them and sent them to Farseer. I don't know whether he got them.
I did, but like there's loads of images and only about 3 show off the Goblin heritage armor from what you sent me. So I'm grabbing those. You'd have been better. You'd have been better going to Wowhead, to be honest.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what you think. The Worgen heritage armor hasn't so much split people as people pretty much all agree that it is terrible. Everyone seems to hate the Worgen heritage armor.
You see, there's a reason for that. They're getting Volterra, right? So they need to, take with the other hand. You can't be seen
that's true.
Yeah, you can't give too much to that community.
You can't have everything.
That community would be happy if the Worgen heritage armor was another Worgen suit on top of their Worgen.
Oh, that's what they got with the BlizzCon thing. So the Yeti onesie, which was just
there's nothing wrong with the Yeti onesies.
Yeah, apparently there is.
It looks so bad on most races. Not all, just most.
Just most races. I think I do like the Finduin and the Sylphinus, or however they call it, the Finvarnus. I quite like those. Those are quite nice.
Yeah, I like them. I like them.
I think the little animations they do, obviously Finduin calls down the resurrection thing, and Finvarnus does the whole banshee form.
They're always at their best when it's a Murloc pet. Anytime they try and do a not Murloc pet, it's kind of but why? It
kind of falls a bit flat. I think the Murloc pet is the best. Finduin and Gilvarnus. That's it, Gilvarnus. I knew it was Finduin. I couldn't remember if it was.
I knew you were wrong, but I didn't know what the correct answer was, so I wasn't correcting you.
So you just stayed quiet.
Yeah, that was the best. I think that was the best.
That's Farseer.
Yeah, that was the best idea, actually, to be honest. So I think that they are at their best when they do Murloc pets, because it's something they know, something they can work with quite easily. I would like to see. Some of the stuff you get in Overwatch is mind-blowingly good. That Illidan Genji skin. Oh yes, please.
Oh yeah, they look really nice. Oh yeah,
that is beautiful. And the Tyronda skin for Symmetra as well. Also a very, very nice skin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see where we go with those. And if they start introducing stuff like that, I would be exceptionally happy. I don't think we will. I mean, the closest we've got was obviously the Magni Torbjorn. That was the closest I think we've got to a WoW skin so far. And then obviously you get the mystical crab in Heroes of the Storm, which is the greatest goddamn thing ever, and I will hear nothing against it.
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs.
Surfing on a shark.
You say surfing on a shark, but space crab.
It's a space shark.
It's how dare you?
Space shark, space crabs.
Blackhand Doomfist came in at the same time. Yeah, but it wasn't so the Illidan skin and the sort of like the Symmetra skin, they look closer to the actual characters. The Blackhand Doomfist, yes, but he still looked human. So I think this is slightly different.
Well, I mean, as human as Doomfist previously looked with his proportions.
Lonewood, rebranded Hearthstone novice. Hello, welcome to the show here today. Are you still getting those bloody things up?
I'm sorting it.
Okay, congratulations.
Wait, so what is the Blackhand Moonfest?
Moonfest.
The Blackhand Doomfist skin is basically the Blackhand sort of like look with the armor and the neck brace and all that sort of stuff, and then it is Doomfist in that sort of get up. It's quite nice. It looks quite nice. You've also got the
so how many surprise boxes do you need to open for that one? Surprise mechanics.
So there's a lot of surprise mechanics you need to get for that. I think it's one of those that you can buy with gold as well, though, so it's not the end of the world.
There we go. We got the images up on screen now.
There we go. We've got it up on. So that's the Worgen, and there's the Goblin. There's the Goblin, Dunkurk.
I'm gauging Dunkurk's reaction to it.
It's I don't know how he feels.
I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
So the Goblin heritage armor, you do have two different variations. You've got the one that you see there. You can also have the goggles up on top of your head as well, so that your eyes can be seen.
Oh yeah, that makes it much better.
So yes, the Worgen one, I'm not a huge fan of because I hate the fact it's a skirt. That would have looked much better as a pair of trousers.
Maybe there's alternates. When the Blood Elf one came out, it only showed the robes one, but they came out with robes or pants.
I'm hoping it comes with trousers because they look much better.
The robe, like, if you're a warrior, you're just gonna look like a mage.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I want there to be some form of trouser variant inside of that. However, the Goblin, I love the Goblin heritage armor. I think the Goblin heritage armor looks fantastic.
Farseer keeps flipping between them two.
No, it's
Worgen one.
There's on a rotation. I can slow it down.
Oh well, yeah, slow it down a bit because the Goblin one, like, I like that it looks like a tool belt and like work vest and like, an apron and like a flight jacket they're wearing. That's all fine, but then the shoulders, why?
So Robbie and Lonewood, they don't like them.
That's fine. That's fine. If you don't like
them,
you
get to walk around with a Wowhead logo attached to your shoulder. Like
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. The one thing I like is that the Worgen one I'm not a huge fan of. I think it looks too forced. I like the jacket, the shoulder plate, the shoulder pads look too big. I think if it was a little bit more refined. If it was me, they should have done two versions. One, which is that version, slightly tamer with the top hat and everything for the human form, and then a ripped version for the Worgen form. That would have been much better, and it would have looked much better when you're doing the transformation. The Goblin one, I love. I love the Goblin one. I love, like you said, the flight jacket, the fact that you've got bombs on your tool belt and a spanner and a screwdriver in there. That I love. I love the shoulder pad because it looks like something a Goblin would have. They kind of look like their own little mini predator. I love that.
I think it's okay. It just does. The only thing I do like about it is, like you say, the tool belt's pretty cool. The little bombs on the shoulders are a bit reminiscent and a bit inspired from sort of like the orc grunts and whatever. So it's kind of got the horde representation in there. But everything else, it's okay. It's okay. It's not out there. The Blood Elf heritage armor I thought had like a lot put into it. There was a lot of Blood Elf in that, and the same with the Dwarven heritage armor. It's very burly, very reminded me of the old school dwarves from like Classic and what have you. Very stone-like, I suppose is a good word. It reminded me of Ironforge and the old dwarves of old and all that. This. With the Worgen one, it just feels as though, we'll put them in a dress with a top hat on them and just slam these huge shoulders on and they'll be happy.
It seems like they could have done a lot more with it.
Yeah.
The coat itself looks nice. The coat looks nice, and I like I said, I like the idea of the top hat. However, it looks too clean for the Worgens. It needs to, like I said, if they did something like that, maybe with the shoulder pads slightly toned down, maybe with some boots and some trousers, so it almost looked like a suit, something along those lines, like an old Victorian suit.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. 100% give me that. If you're gonna do the Worgen version, do something that rips. Do something that looks like they've just gone through that transformation.
I agree.
Because that dress and that jacket, they look terrible.
They do.
Squee says, Squee the Tree in chat says, that they're disappointed they didn't do foot armor as well for the Worgens. I think that's a really bad idea. The Worgens should have some sort of foot armor, and it's going to be difficult because they've got giant dog paws.
I would have said, I would have been on board with you about having the two different versions, one in their human form and then one, like you say, like nice suit, very noble-like, and then when they become Worgen, it's all torn to shreds. Jekyll and Hyde, literally, it's there already. Sorry about that. The material's there. Jekyll and Hyde are right there. You've got like the, pristine, a normal everyday guy, and then Hyde, everything's ripped and torn. It's right there. Why didn't they do that? Were they not allotted? Now here's the thing. Like, I don't want to go and hate on like the model team or whoever made that, because they might have been given like an allotted time to go. You've only got so much time to do this. Maybe they had that idea, and then maybe they just didn't have enough time to be able to do it, so they just had to do it quickly. That's possibly it. So you can not like them, but I would encourage people not to just jump on the team about it, because they might not have at the time.
It's possible that things can change between now and then. It's entirely
possibly
possible they'll see this feedback and they change something.
The biggest example of that is Sonic, of course. Everyone had a very displeasure with Sonic.
It can potentially happen again. Rav, again, take a look from the Heroes of the Storm skin. The Heroes of the Storm skin for Greymane, especially the Master skin, look fantastic. They look brilliant. So I don't understand why they didn't just take that. Obviously I understand Gen is kind of his own standalone character, but you can take inspiration from that and you can create something that looks just as good.
Did you guys check the one dude out who made armor for every class as Lonewood? Nah.
Lonewood? I don't believe we have.
Is it new? If it's a new one, then I have not.
If it's a new one, then 100%. We've got our Discord, so feel free to pop it up in the Discord channel. The Discord channel will be fantastic. We'll take a look and we will we'll see exactly how we feel on those.
Actually, even in fact, just put it in the You Think You Do But You Don't channel as well, by all means. Slam it in
Yes,
there.
exactly. Over on our Discord, which is a good place to go. I recommend you go and visit that Discord.
I do like custom armors being made though, because sometimes fans who do the 3D modeling or whatever just have some of the greatest ideas, and it makes Blizzard's implementations look really pale by comparison.
But the thing with that, right? So Blizzard puts out a full set, and they're like, "We're really happy with this. It fits the class or the race fantasy." And you're like, "Yeah, sweet." Modeler comes along and is like, "Nah," and he does it, and everyone's like, "That is a goblin," and Blizzard are like, "Oh, whoops." It's like they don't.
The one thing to remember though is it's not. This is going to sound ridiculous. It's easy to do something like that and model it in that way. It's not, but it's easy to do something like that. Whereas you have to remember, obviously, that these are taking part in a much larger sort of rather than being its own standalone thing. This is going to now be, they have to be, they can move, they have to be able to do all the animations, they have to be able to be seen properly, they have to, work alongside what they have when
to
it
be
comes
seen properly.
So yeah, there's obviously some of the people that have their time to do their 3D drawings like that, it's going to look much better. But at the same time, it might not be as applicable to World of Warcraft as a whole.
You say that, but like they've come up with these ideas themselves just from the knowledge of World of Warcraft that they've garnished, and the idea and the theme they've created. If they make it much better than what the original was, obviously they've just taken an idea that Blizzard had and just made it much better, as you say. Again, obviously they have allotted time to do so, but sometimes they even go down the path where the design is completely different but suits it even more, so Blizzard just missed the mark completely where the fans have just hit on it. That's why I like custom models and people doing that, because sometimes they just do a better job. And that's the sort of people Blizzard should look to hiring when I'm pretty sure they look towards some machinima team, or they got some new machinima people on for when they made Wrathgate. Because they came in with a Wrathgate idea and they made it, and then they're like, that's amazing, we want to keep this machinima team on. And same with the art. If people do amazing models and amazing armor design, get them in, because you've got a lot of old people leaving. You got Mike leaving, you got Chris leaving. You want to get new talent in, you want to get people in who have been playing for a while, who are still younger, who have these skills and have these ideas. Get them him in. You really need to.
So I'm looking at the link that Lonewood put into the channel, and it is quite possibly one of the greatest things I've ever seen. So on this link, I don't know, it's in German, so I can't read the entire thing. But there is.
You can read a bit of German though.
Yeah, I can read a little bit of German. So what they've done is they've taken. There's two races here, Night Elf and Goblin. And they have created a class or a specific what's the word I'm looking for, armor for each class. So you've got, I mean, the Night Elf warrior armor kind of looks like the old sort of like Night Saber style. You've got what I can only describe as kind of like a half tree armor for the druids that looks fantastic. The rogues essentially have Maev's armor. It looks fantastic. The Goblin set, I don't want it. So the Death Knight armor for goblins on this page almost look like a mech shredder.
That's cool.
It's blue. It looks awesome. My personal favorite though is the priest armor. Priest and the warlock armor. So the priest armor, they've got gems. The
warlock armor is just a pimp.
Yeah, and the warlock armor is a pimp warlock armor. It's the best thing I have ever seen. And
I'm a fan of the subtlety of the rogue one because it looks like a bruiser. It looks like a booty bay bruiser who's on steroids. Yeah,
exactly.
Hey, bud, I'm in trouble.
I think whoever's done these, apparently if we search for hand claw on this page, let me search for hand claw. Let me see what else we've got here. Hand claw. Oh, here we go. Tauren.
This is the exact. I think this is one of the things where Blizzard do not have the resources to do it for every class in that regard. I think.
But this is where they should open it up for stuff like this. If this person is able to put these forward and actually create these now, whether or not they're going to be able to work in the World of Warcraft, whether or not they're going to work with the system that they have in place, but some of these are fantastic. They're much better than anything that that can be done. Now, obviously, there are time constraints. You've got to make sure the artists and the developers have time to do all this. But
unpopular opinion for them, time constraints is a cop out when it's something like that.
Do you believe so?
The artists want it to look as good as they can, obviously, right?
Naturally.
Artists don't. Well, I was going to say artists don't set out to make terrible looking things, but some do. Blizzard artists don't set out to make something that looks terrible. Just sometimes they miss the mark, they misunderstand what it is they're doing, or maybe their workload is so intense that they forgot which type of elf they're working on today.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible. We have to remember, obviously, that these guys are not only, creating armor sets for all of this. They're also making sure that all the artwork is done for the bosses, the raids, for anything new. There's a lot of stuff for that. I mean, if the guy who's done these does, some of the stuff here is fantastic. The Tauren ones all look brilliant. I mean, the Paladin one for Taurens looks a bit odd. Kind of looks a little bit like a robot, and I'm not sure on it. But the other stuff on here looks really, really nice. Okay. Really, really nice. And I commend him for some of the stuff that he's doing here. These will all be put, don't worry if you're listening to this through a podcast or on audio, the link to these will be placed in the description for you.
Indeed. Okay, so let's not get bogged down too much in the armor, because we also on the heritage armor, because we've kind of like beaten the heritage armor to death now with our words.
Even though I don't mind the heritage armor, I quite like it.
Okay. So hopefully Blizzard maybe do a bit more work on them. I doubt it, but it may happen. But moving forward, yes, we now have a war council for the Horde. We no longer have a war chief.
That was called by Rav. Rav called this.
He did.
He said indeed. There's going to be a war council. This is going to happen. And well done on him for calling it. Mm-hmm. I'm quite fond of the fact that we now have... hang on.
Thrall and Bane as part of the war council, as far as we know. And I am still calling it that Lorthamar should definitely be part of it, because he has been through,
he's probably dead, though.
He's not dead. He's an elf. He's lived long enough, and he's had the most
stable.
He's had the most stable mind out of any Horde leader for the longest time.
The problem is Lorthamar would be part of the War Council, but he's currently trying to avoid every single advance under the sun from Thalrissa. Jesus Christ, that woman is thirsty. woman is thirsty AF for Lothramar. He can't get into the War Council meetings because she's blocking it.
She just leans on the wall as he tries to go in, hey, sailor.
Yeah, it's essentially like that. He's like, yeah, I've got jobs to do. And she's like, no, I think you should come and look at my bedroom. And he's going, no.
Orphamar strikes me as the kind who wouldn't realise that she's hitting on him. So she's like, hey, she's come to my bedroom's like, I don't see a purpose to that meeting.
Yeah, exactly. He's completely oblivious. He just
puts her hand on his shoulder and she's like, oh, you will. And then he just vanish and reappear in her bedroom. And that's all you need to say.
He's like, oh, yeah, appear in the bed. Oh, why would you do that? I don't want to be here. And then she's like, lays on the bed, takes her clothes off. And he's just there going, what are you doing? I don't...
There's a warm in here.
Yeah, we have important things that we need to be doing. I don't know.
The Sunwell.
Yeah, the Sunwell.
You want to talk Nightwell and Sunwell?
It's quite funny. There was a comic on Twitter that I saw that made me laugh, which was essentially Lothramar kind of in the corner of a room, and Thalrissa, as she's talking to him, is slowly but surely just like sliding up to him, and then she's basically holding onto the wall, like he's in the corner of it, and she's just like a spider in front of him on the wall, like trapping him in the corner. It is hilarious.
Amazing.
It's quite funny. But the fact, I'm liking that now that we have this piece that has, to be fair, that we haven't actually had peace since World of Warcraft.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, when have we had peace?
For that short time between Cataclysm and Wrath of the Lich King.
What?
No.
There was no war happening then.
Yes, there was.
Yes, there was.
There was some downtime. Everyone just went to Northrend and just got their
but
asses.
there was no peace was never ever put forward.
Airship battle and gunship, Ice Crown.
Yeah, that was during Wrath. I said after.
No, but there was no...
Cataclysm happens at the same time.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we are now... Yeah, there never was peace.
Okay, so for that 1 hour where we had some downtime...
there was never peace. It was never... Now we actually have a peace. There is a peace that has been, kind of signed off.
It'll last for one expansion, if that, calling it.
We now have a position where that hasn't... And we're getting these little bits and pieces between all the characters.
The very start of Legion was pretty peaceful.
Again, it was, but it was so that... This is what I'm saying. Peace was never declared. It was peaceful, but it was almost like a Cold War. We're now in a position where we've actually had a treaty signed declaring peace.
Oh, end of Pandaria.
We're now getting all these. Oh yeah, because that was peaceful.
It was because we were told if we did anything, they would destroy us. So we didn't do nothing. That's peace.
Welcome to World of Craft.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Official peace in game. We have peace now, which we've never had in the current World of Warcraft.
I don't know. There was that one time where someone maybe...
Oh my god!
I give it 6 to 9 months.
Actually, during Cataclysm, I think there was a moment where there was some peace had.
In episode 76, there was... Yeah, so...
Oh god, no, I'm not going to go into
we're getting these little character developments like the Thalrissa and Lothramar thing. We're getting some stuff between... there's a little bit between Thrall and obviously the leader of the Maghar Orcs, which makes things interesting considering both of their parentage. It's those little things just are now starting to give a little bit more freedom. Obviously, we're getting a little bit between Valera and Shaw as well. There's kind of hints of those two getting along better.
What is it with the female elf population of Silverman and human males? What is it with them?
It was the other way around with Jaina and Kael'thas.
Every prominent, rangery type blood elf ends up boinking a human male. Every one of them.
It didn't happen between Kael'thas and
Jaina. That was the other way around.
That was the other way around. But then Kael'thas got cucked by Arthas.
Yeah.
And just goes to show what judge a character Jaina is because look what
she's
he became.
No. It's what she did to Kael'thas essentially.
Basically.
Also, what Kael'thas became though. So
it's Jaina's fault.
Jaina can't win either way there.
No, it's her fault. She caused
all
this.
Kael'thas or Arthas?
Oh, who knows?
Well, Arthas sat on a cold chair for 5 years doing nothing. Kael'thas brought Kil'jaeden to Azeroth to destroy it.
Well, no, technically technically Arthas did because Kil'jaeden came to Azeroth for Arthas to kill Arthas.
No.
You've confused Arthas and Illidan. Easy mistake.
They're one and the same. To be
What
fair.
lore is this? What
Easy-
did I missed a book.
Easy mistake if you know.
I might have
absolutely
confused my
nothing.
lore there slightly.
I think I missed a book in the Chronicles.
I was like,
Yeah.
Kil'jaeden created the Lich King. What?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I
It makes sense. But yeah, so we're now in a position where we obviously have, little character developments going on, which is going to lead into the next patch, which is quite exciting.
wrong though.
We're going to lead into what is wrong.
The piecing, because Lonewood did bring up a point. Tyrande is still part of the Alliance, and she ain't having no peace.
True.
There ain't no
True.
official peace going on yet.
And guarantee Gen's
Yep.
like, nah.
The Night Elves
nah.
are still very much on the warpath.
So we have outliers, but as a whole, the Alliance and the Horde are currently at peace.
Except for Sylvanas and whatever forces she has, and Tyrande.
Sylvanas isn't part of the Horde now.
Yeah, but Tyrande is.
Tyrande's not
What?
part of the Horde.
No, she's part of the Alliance. Like, she's part of the factions, is what I mean. You say outliers, but she's
Right.
very much part of the Alliance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Malfurion with her. And
Yeah.
like that's pretty separate. I mean, if Illidan came back, he'd probably side with her no matter what, right?
That's fine, but at this point, Tyrande is essentially defected. We see in the PTR, in some of the data mine stuff, is that she, Anduin is like, look, we've got this treaty, it's time for peace, sign it. And like Tyrande basically just slaps it out of his hand and grabs her crotch and pisses off.
Sylvanas has Gallywix.
She does, yeah.
Sylvanas does have a Gallywix, which is very true. Again, has no one checked Gallywix's place? That's probably where they're hiding out.
It is, yeah.
Yep,
You've
true.
also got to remember, she hasn't actually fully defected or what have you, because she speaks with Chandris about this, where she kind of pleads with Sylvanas to not do this because they do need the Alliance. Sylvanas, goddamn, Tyrande, where she pleads with Tyrande to not do this because the Alliance have helped comfort them and helped them through all this since the bombing of Teldrassil. But Tyrande's again having
I love how in the data mine text Chandris basically spends 10 minutes going, Tyrande, please, we're tired, we've been through a lot, our home has been destroyed, the Alliance have helped us through this, it's time for us to relax.
She grabs Chandris and goes, no!
Basically Chandris is like, we can now stop, we don't need to chase Sylvanas anymore. And Tyrande basically just goes, bitch, I might, and then just disappears and goes chasing after Sylvanas.
She didn't say that.
I do what I want.
She just goes, revenge! That's all she spouts. She's like a Pokemon now. That's all she says. Revenge!
Basically.
Malfurion is like,
that
my
is just what
love,
happened.
how are you doing today?
know-
Revenge!
This all it is Tyrande has discovered Linkin Park. That's what happened.
Malfurion just like pulls the door back. Crawling in. She's doing fine.
Yeah.
Just like to the other Night Elf soldiers. She's fine. She needs a
It's
moment.
just a phase.
Anduin like Jaina teleports to Malfurion. She's like, how's Tyrande doing? And Malfurion's just like, well, she's discovered Hoobastank. It just cuts to her in her room, just like posters up on the wall, crying.
I've seen many a Night Elf go through this. It happens around about their 6,000th birthday. It just happens.
And as
It's a
he says
phase.
that, just out of the room, you just hear Tyrande yell, "It's not a phase!"
Vengeance! I hate Sylvanas! Why?
This is the real me, Mom. And Malfurion's just like, what? I'm not even. What are you talking about?
She's shouting to a loon, is what she's.
Basically, what has happened is this expansion, Tyrande's shopping at Hot Topic. That's what's happened here. She's shopping at Hot Topic. She's discovered Linkin Park and everything like that. That is effectively what we have discovered about BFA. This is how you describe BFA, right? Is you describe BFA by going, Sylvanas finds out she's got no friends, and then suddenly Tyrande goes shopping at Hot Topic.
You know
Hot Teldrassil. And ironically, Teldrassil is very hot.
That's what got
still
built in its
smouldering,
place.
in fact.
That's what got built in its place. That's why she's gone like this. But you know what? She needs to calm down a bit because eventually Malfurion's going to piss off back to the Barrows and go to sleep for another 1,000 years if she doesn't pack it in.
Yeah.
I need to go sort of to a topic, because this has turned into Essence of RP all of a sudden.
That is not a bad thing.
Nay.
I'll be curious to see what, like, in regards to Elders on that, I'll be curious to see what they do in the next expansion to the Ruins of Orderon that's just sitting there with clouds in it that should have blown away by now. Surely, for the love of God, there's wind.
For the love of God.
Here's my prediction: what's going to happen? The rest of the tree that's standing will just blow away.
It's just going to disappear. I'm quite in. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see A, what happens with Lordaeron, and B, what happens with Teldrassil. Even though Teldrassil technically it's heavily burnt, it still stands.
It's a world tree.
Yeah,
look at Hydro. It was
there's definitely,
there's certainly a precedent for a world tree being burned to cinders and then regrowing. Look at Hydro.
It wasn't burnt. It was just damaged by Archimonde spontaneously exploding from wisp disease,
which created a fire wave across the entire land.
But that was only on this bark surface. That was fine.
It was only on the bark surface, as opposed to the fire that was
like we should have checked before Archimonde came to Azeroth if he had any allergies, and someone should have told the Night Elves that he had a wisp allergy. That's all I'm saying, and nobody let him know.
They let him travel with flammables in his bags. That's what happened.
It was terrible. Yeah,
shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened.
It just shouldn't have happened. We could have prevented this. Could have been prevented. Only you can prevent this. Make sure your demons are aware.
Only you can prevent forest fires in Hydro.
By letting your demons know about what things there are there. They might have allergies.
Warlocks, you're responsible for your demon.
But anyway, again, going back onto a topic, and speaking of things that should have been burnt away a long time ago, Bolvar.
I thought...
God's name is. What do you think I was going to go for?
I thought he was going to go with Kalia. Either works.
Either or it kind of works.
Yeah.
I think it's that I'm obviously, for those of you that aren't aware, there's been some encrypted stuff data mined on the 8.3 PTR.
More spoilers.
More spoilers. We don't know what it says yet, but it is a conversation between, I believe it's Mograine and Bolvar.
I haven't seen that one.
I know. Yes. So we don't know what it says, but we do know that Bolvar and Mograine have a conversation. We also know that Anduin...
You're not my real dad. Give me back the Ashbringer.
Yeah. Do you know what the conversation is? Mograine actually approaches Bolvar and goes, Dunkurk, the Death Knight, has no idea that we allied with you all them years ago back in Legion. He suspects, but he did not know. He questions.
No, Dunkurk knows. Dunkurk was the one that showed them.
I remember Dunkurk was so confused in Legion when they were serving the Lich King again. He was like, what happened?
What happened here?
Guys, I was gone for like a minute.
Are we friends with him again?
Did we just become best friends?
It worked out because at the end of WoD, I switched over to playing the monk, and then I think I was playing a mage, and so I went switched for a bunch of classes, and then Legion came, and I was like, oh, finally I can go back to my. What is going on?
Yep.
He was like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. He just walked in and was like, what happened? It was really odd.
No idea.
Going back to data mining, we've also had obviously a conversation happening between Anduin and Jaina.
Yes.
Where Kalia is asking about her father.
No, Talia.
Which Kalia? No,
Kalia Menethil and Talia Fordragon. Talia Fordragon.
It may have been Talia, yes. So Talia is obviously asking about her father, which is very interesting, the fact that they're bringing that up. And we've also had what appears to be some new Death Knights. So looking at Pandaren Death Knights, a couple, I believe, also some of the allied races as well. It's interesting that those have been data mined and been brought up, because unless they were... It wouldn't make sense for them to suddenly be part of the Death Knight starter quest, because it just would make everything completely out of whack.
Yes.
Especially the fact
it
that
depends. It depends on the race. Pandaren could work because there were Pandaren in the world at the time. Colterans could work because there were definitely dead Colteran in
yes, that is very
that
true.
area. Same goes with the Night Elf, not the Night Elf, the Suramar Elves.
No,
some of them
yes.
could have, some of them.
But it's
They were sealed in the dome one.
The Void Elves, though, make absolutely no goddamn sense, and I can't.
No, neither do the Lightforged Renai.
Or Magcar orcs.
Yeah, it is a very, very odd thing for.
No,
these to
Magcar can
suddenly
make
kind
sense.
What? How?
Well, because the Magcar are just basically brown orcs. Like, they're just uncorrupted orcs. There were some uncorrupted orcs back in Nagland. And
I suppose
Outland.
yes, there were. They could
The Magcar.
potentially work. But yeah, I would be interested to see just it. Again, the interesting thing I think isn't so much the lore involved with them. I think it's more the timing of this. Now, we know for a fact that Shadowlands is being heavily hinted at and heavily discussed when it comes to the next expansion.
Yeah.
We know the next expansion is going to involve death quite heavily. We know for a fact that the next expansion is basically coming to BlizzCon.
Let's put a break on that.
Yeah,
we don't know anything about the next expansion. We can go, oh, it's going to be about death, and then we go into it and it's like, welcome to Valhalla.
No.
Sorry. I was doing my best Bellular impression there.
Kexman is correct. Every expansion so far has heavily involved death. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
It really will involve death. That's a fact. I'm pretty sure that there'll be a lot of death in the next expansion.
They could 180 is the next expansion. No one dies. Not a single person. No raid.
Not a single person.
No, nothing. It's just
you faint
2 years
when you kill someone. They faint.
Yeah. Sorry about saying we
2 years.
knew that it was about death and all that sort of stuff. I was doing my best Bellular impression.
It's 2 years of playing the Jedi consort story from Star Wars: The Old Republic. That's what that is.
What was that?
How was that?
Did you?
Ignore that.
That was Dunkurk's. That was Dunkurk's Hellhounds.
I was going to say, that was really odd. But yes, it's interesting to see these crop up now with patch 8.3 being sort of like released, knowing that we're kind of at the tail end of Battle for Azeroth, knowing that these sort of things generally start to crop up now when we're thinking about the next expansion. Are we going to potentially see some sort of Shadowlands that we weren't expecting? Shadowlands, again, heavily hinted at, heavily believed to be the next expansion. We don't know. It seems as though the Lich King himself is going to be involved, though. What do we think, guys? Do we think we're going to be seeing Lich King involved once again and return to Northrend?
Possibly.
Or are we going to be seeing something slightly different?
Possibly, but I'm almost getting to the point where I'll almost now be disappointed if it is Shadowlands. Because we speculated and talked about it and focused on it so much, then when it is revealed, it'll be like, oh, we sort of knew. Which is sort of the problem when you have leaks and such, because then you're talking about it and focused on it so much, it's no longer fresh when it finally does come out. It's already been talked about, it's already been pulled apart, and then yes, you got more to pull apart when it is officially revealed, but it's just like, okay, that confirms it. Now what are we talking about? Because we've already been talking about it so much. Well,
I think the interesting thing is, obviously, we're now at a point where, again, getting very, very close to BlizzCon.
Yes. BlizzCon!
We've had a lot of supposed leaks. A lot of them are pretty much confirmed as not going to happen with where the story is at the moment, especially with patch 8.3 out now. So those kind of don't, we're now at a point where a lot of the leaks that we have heard probably aren't going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if we do have some form of Shadowlands expansion. The only difference is, again, is it going to be not necessarily out of left field, but are we going to be experiencing something slightly different? So are we going to see Shadowlands, but Shadowlands being the name of the new Northrend, for example? Are we going to see a potential team up of Sylvanas and Bolvar? That's also a possibility.
Relevant to that is something that we missed out on, and it's actually a really good point by Lonewood in the chat. It says, I think it could be the Ebon Blade gets into a fight with N'Zoth because they're protected because of the fact they're already dead. I actually did forget about that fact that the dead aren't affected by the old gods because they're undead. And what kind of power, and also Kex, he says, remember what kind of power N'Zoth had in Hearthstone. I don't know if that last one kind of is relevant because that's just usually a mechanical thing that they usually drop into Hearthstone. But I do like the point, and something that I forgot, that the dead are a great weapon against the old gods because they're just, I guess there's something about them that it doesn't affect. I mean, it can affect, but it's very unlikely. They're more resistant to the influence of the old gods. They built an entire ice crown out of Yogg-Saron's blood, and the dead weren't going insane. The dead were just the dead. Anyone else lingering in there would have gone nuts. So
it's interesting. I think we we might potentially see something like that. I can see. There's someone that keeps putting Rangers FC in the chat. Is that pointing towards Dunkirk for some reason? Are we? Is Rangers FC a good thing or a bad thing, Dunkirk?
Yeah, Dunkirk is not it.
Take it.
I don't even think he's
take
it or leave it.
No, but if you had to, though.
If you had to, though, we're a Celtic group, right? We're a Celtic group.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. There we go. Ross is in the chat. Hello, Ross. Now it's
treble.
Again, the timing is interesting. Could we potentially see the? Could we see sort of like Bolvar and the Evan Blade getting involved in the end fight with N'Zoth? Is that what we could be talking about? Is that what potentially where these Death Knights are coming from? We're seeing Bolvar has raised up a new army because he understands the damage that N'Zoth can do. Or are we going to see something where N'Zoth does end up dying, or we defeat N'Zoth for one reason or another, and Bolvar almost rises up to kind of fill that power void that is left with both of everyone turning to peace. All of a sudden we've got something to deal with. We know that Sylvanas is out there. We know for a fact that the Crown of the Damned isn't necessarily an easy thing to control, so Bolvar may be having trouble with that. We just don't know. It's I'm interested to see where we go from here. I would be quite happy to have a Return to Northrend expansion.
Oh yeah.
And I think Shadowlands, thinking about it, Shadowlands could potentially be a name for a revamped Northrend, with a couple of other revamped zones. I'm not sure.
Don't think that's where they'll go with it. I don't. No, I just don't think they'll go with it, because if they haven't revamped Outland or done something with that, then, or even any Burning Crusade zones or anything like that, I really doubt they're going to revamp something like Northrend into something new and then name it something completely different. Unless something, as you say, absolutely off the wall happens and Zoth just vomits over Northrend and it changes it completely, something like that. But unless something like that happens, no, I don't think they will.
Okay. So here's a question for both of you two. If we obviously know that Blizzard like to go on 2-year patch cycles, expansion cycles at this point. So we know that we're due an announcement. We know that at some point next year we're going to get an expansion. That's if we're going by what they've done previously. If, however, they came out at BlizzCon and they said, right, the next expansion is coming, it's whatever it is, we are doing an entire revamp of the leveling system. We're going to be revamping we're going to be revamping Azeroth, including Northrend, Mists of Pandaria. We're going to do Outland as well. Would you be happy to sit by and wait slightly longer, knowing that there is such a big revamp on the way, or would you prefer them to do it almost in stages?
I mean, I say, even if I say no, I mean, what's going to happen if I say no? I mean, I've got to wait either way. I think I'm fine with waiting.
Burn it all to the ground.
Burn it all to the ground and start with Classic again.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh wait, they did.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they haven't quite burnt it to the ground yet.
Teldrassil isn't on fire.
Teldrassil isn't on fire yet.
I don't think there
on fire.
should be that much of a... But I mean, at this point in time, with their development how it is, there shouldn't be that much of a wait if they wanted to do something like that, because then it would have already been... They're already doing it, right? When Ian came out with the 8.3 announcement, they said we started this auction house rework at the start of BFA. We had no idea. So they've been working on that for like an entire year. And now that's come out. Anything, if they were going to do like a leveling revamp or whatever, they would have started that in BFA or maybe even before. Maybe just at the start. I'd say at this point, maybe just at the start of the expansion. So again, they've already had a year's worth of work to put into it. I don't know if they want to say, oh yeah, wait a bit longer because we want to finish this. If they did, I suppose I could hold on. If it kind of goes back, it kind of harkens back to Argus and saying, if we had Argus a little bit longer, would the Heart of Azeroth have been better? Would the system would have been improved if they had a bit more time to rework it? Because they had a lot of bad feedback. So I'm going to, I guess practice what I preach in a way and say, yeah, if it would make it better, otherwise end up with another Heart of Azeroth situation, Yeah, I'd wait, and I think people generally, on most of the time, would wait as long as the results get brought.
As long as they knew that it was,
wouldn't-
if we were having constant updates saying this is what we're doing, this is what you're getting, slightly different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to end up Heart of Azeroth with Sonic, Mango, and Athos again. We've already got that.
We already have that.
Yeah,
Who
we don't
needs
need two
another
of them.
one?
Ah.
How would they
We
air
already
at the same
do.
time every week? That would just be
It would just be chaos.
Chaos.
Oh,
Absolute chaos. And speaking of chaos, I think that's what we're going to be getting in the next expansion. I feel as though we're kind
minions of corn or Nurgle.
both actually. We're going to get Corngul.
Zerglings.
It's going to be interesting.
So Zinch it is then.
The Zeech.
Zinch.
There is
the one thing
Continue.
I was going to say, one thing that Blizzard likes to do is to kind of set everything up and then almost, change the status quo quite quickly with stuff like that. They kind of did it with, they kind of did it with some of the Cataclysm stuff. They did it with, a lot of the stuff going into Legion as well, where we obviously had Warlords of Draenor. Yes, we've saved alternate Draenor. Everything's good. Everything's dandy. Oh God, the world.
Yeah.
I think we're now going to be at a point where we have almost everyone is very, very settled. It's like, okay, we've finished this. We've managed to defeat Enzoth. We've managed to. There's peace that is being spread. We can now relax. And then all of a sudden, we're going to get. I don't know whether we're going to get something along the lines of a world revamp or something with Shadowlands, but I feel as though there's going to be something that comes along that completely shakes all that up. So instead of it being focused on, we have this threat, but the Horde and Alliance aren't getting on, what can happen next? I feel as though it's more going to be a case of, okay, these guys, they're starting to work together. Here's evil Bolvar in the middle of the mix, and it is just going to shake the whole thing up again. And instead of them focusing on, we've got this big threat, but the Horde and Alliance are at each other's throats. It's going to be different this time. Horde and Alliance aren't going to be at each other's throats. They're going to be slightly working together, but this threat is a lot more dangerous than, what they first expected it to be.
There are 4 players. I mean, there are 5 technically, but when we're focusing on the dead and this, that, and the other, there are 4 big players that we need to take into account with this whole thing. Bolvar, the Lich King, Talia, who's his daughter, Kalia Menethil, who's the sister of Arthas and about to be leader of the Forsaken, and Sylvanas. So we've got these 4, all kind of like they're chess pieces. We've got our chessboard, and these 4 are at the very front. They're
also,
ready
you
to go.
can't forget Bwonsamdi.
Bwonsamdi. You got
We know
Bwonsamdi
he's
there.
the boss. We know he's involved with all of this.
He's involved somehow being the dead boy. Yes, he is. So we've got everything, everything's all sort of lined up and ready to go, but we're just not sure what to expect. Now, I don't want to speculate into some really overhype ideas or story, because then.
But I'm sure you will.
No, because I don't. The main reason why I don't is because I don't want to have these things where we develop these really cool ideas and then Blizzard doesn't hit that high and they just go with something a bit more mediocre.
They steal our idea 3 years from now. We're like, I thought of that, mother.
And we'll have to sue them.
It is true.
And I'm sure that will go well.
Yes, of course. But yeah,
There's one thing Blizzard don't have, it's lawyer. Oh no.
So Callie is going to be leader of the Forsaken. I don't know if she'll hang. It'd just be really weird to see Kalia hanging in Orgrimmar with the Forsaken. So I remember earlier when you said we're not sure what's going to happen with Lordaeron. If the plague can be cleared out, I think Undercity would probably be buried, and I think they'd revamp Upper Lordaeron to be its own city again.
I feel as though Kalia is going to be she's going to very much be the sort of the bridge between the two factions, and that's what's going to slowly but surely bring them together.
Yeah, because Derek is still with her, I believe. I think Derek's going with her as she goes to become the leader of the Forsaken. That's where she's headed, and Derek Proudmoore is kind of alongside her. So as long as Derek's with her, that's her direct connection to Jaina, and through Jaina, Anduin. So then, they've got a direct line to the Alliance through that. Thrall and Jaina also trust each other. They also now have a good connection. Lor'themar and Jaina sort of trust each other to a degree as well, because they sort of know each other. They fought alongside at the Throne of Thunder and other such things. So, yeah, I think this is the closest in terms of ties.
Lorframar and Jane are pretty hostile to each other anytime they meet.
I suppose,
Nowadays.
but I mean, you've also got Bane as well. Bane
That
is
did
really
change, though.
It has improved a bit, but again, adding to that, you've also got Bane, who's definitely on Jaina's good books after saving Derek.
Not only that, but we also know that Lorthamar isn't going to be involved in anything because he's not going to be able to move after Thalris has finished with him.
For God's sake!
Hey, I'm just saying,
Also-
like, it's confirmed. It's confirmed
God.
in the patch that Thalrissa is going to destroy Lorthramar's hips.
Also, it's Lorframar who doesn't do anything ever.
Yeah, exactly. He legitimately does nothing.
He does so much
Never.
things. What are you guys on about? He's there all the time.
Name the last thing he did.
He's present for a lot of things.
He's present for a lot.
He's upper management. I was there, yeah, but he didn't do anything. You just stood there.
That is a perfect description of Lorthamar. He's upper management. He's the sort of person that would spend half an hour in earshot of Bane saying how he helped with this whole thing.
What other
and
upper
Bane
management?
stood there going, "What the hell, dude? I've done everything. I've been captured. I've been tortured. I was, all this sort of stuff."
You do not understand how much chaos the Horde would be in if they did not have that upper management elf. You have no idea. He is keeping things together.
Okay. Again. Last time.
But he can't even fix the dead scar.
Can't even fix the dead scar.
He's
But
not
not only
a
that,
druid.
but when was the last? What was the last thing Lorthramar did?
Siege of Orgrimmar.
No.
Okay.
Dead. He was just there.
He
told us
did.
to go do it.
He
Yeah.
gathered the warriors and he went. And did the thing.
No. We were already gathered. Remember?
Okay,
He
fine.
teleported in
Najata.
after we got to the heart chest. Like, oh, the heart
Najata.
chest.
He
Okay,
got
but
people
he
held
was-
together and he led the, and he also
He was
helped lead
present?
the attack. No.
Yeah,
He was
we-
present.
No. He led
we led
the attacks.
We led the attack. He walked up after the battle with stars like, "I'll help you, hero." At which
Yeah,
point, like,
exactly.
"Oh, fine,
if
I've got
you,
this."
if you want to argue that, then that's any leader.
No, it
No,
isn't.
Yeah?
Tyrion
No.
runs ahead of the battle at the broken shore and gets incinerated.
No, we got there. He was just in a ball. We were the ones who fought like Gul'dan and the demons.
Yeah, so he was ahead of us.
Yeah, he was
stalling
ahead. He was
the
just in a
place.
ball. He was
He
just in
got
a ball.
halfway through the place himself.
No,
He's
the
like
only
a
thing
Death Knight.
he did was get breathed on by Felfar and died. That's what happened, Tyrion.
I wish Lorthramar would get breathed on with fire and die.
There's nothing wrong with Lorthamar.
There's nothing right with him either.
Speaking of nothing wrong
Bring
with Lorthramar, I
back
don't think there's really been
Sunstrider
any-
Dynasty.
I don't think there's been anything wrong with the show today. I think it's gone quite swimmingly, gentlemen.
Several things have been wrong with this show, but none of them were bad.
I think that's the best way to put it.
I think that's the best way to put it. I think we're at the end now. We're at the tail end. I believe we've covered a lot of the stuff in patch 8.3. We've all given our thoughts on it. We it's interesting to see exactly what we all think. Farseer, you're wrong. It's true. Any parting thoughts, gentlemen?
No, I think I'm quite happy with that. I'm just checking chat to make sure there's nothing. Let's go with the play new puppets now. Keys. Oh, right. Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm just reading Lonewood comments. It's fine. No, I'm good.
Dunkurk, any passing thoughts that don't involve bus?
Shenanigans sounds like a fun restaurant, and you should all go.
I've been using that word a lot lately. Shenanigans. I like that word.
Shenanigans. What?
Yeah.
I think the buses have finally got him.
Any other thoughts from you, Kexman?
No thoughts from me apart from the fact that I think 8.3 is going to be very exciting, and with BlizzCon just around the corner, things are going to get even more exciting.
I can't wait to get my hands on them scenario dungeon runs.
Going to be amazing. If you guys want to join in the excitement, make sure you're pressing those follow and subscribe buttons on the Twitch channel and subscribing to us on YouTube as well, because there's going to be a lot of interesting videos coming out with BlizzCon.
And we're going to be
believe that's
covering it
us
live.
done.
Remember, we're covering BlizzCon live as well. And also, hashtag
Yes.
giveaway. Someone put hashtag contest. I'm pretty sure it's hashtag giveaway. Someone test out the command. But
It's
I'm
not
pretty
even hashtag, it's exclamation point.
exclamation
Well
point.
done.
Yeah,
Well done.
exclamation mark giveaway if you want to have your chance at winning a BlizzCon ticket.
Virtual ticket.
Virtual
Virtual
ticket.
ticket.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Virtual ticket.
Virtual ticket on this weekend's show, Heart of Azeroth on Sunday. So you guys want to check that out. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. That's going to be with Athelas, Mango, and Slanik, and all that cool stuff. Check us out on all the social medias. We got all of them below the stream. I think we're done here.
We're done. So, see you later.
Yes, we will indeed. See you next week, guys.